Today has been such an interesting day. I just feel like it's been such a spiritual awakening type of day. I feel like sometimes God puts you in certain positions so you can view life a little bit different, right? And today I met a Christian Jewish sister, and I never knew that they existed. I thought that you could either be Jewish or you could be Christian. I didn't know that you could be both, right? And she had talked about how she's Christian and she's Jewish because Jesus was Jewish. She talked about that. And I just wanted to talk to her because I wanted to learn her perspective, and because honestly, I never really talked to Jewish people like that. I've had Jewish friends, but I've been talking to a lot of Christian sisters too. I just wanted to say, how people talk about there's Jezebel spirit? Well, I truly feel like there is a spirit of misogyny, right? That can live in some men. And, me and this sister were talking about righteous anger. And we were talking about anger and how anger is a sin. I will admit that I haven't been the best when it comes to my own anger. But she was telling me how there's different types of anger. And she talked about how there's righteous anger. If you see somebody being abused, then, if you do not have anger, then there's something wrong. But there's also the type of anger that consumes you, that poisons you. And it's very interesting because I feel like this is true when it comes to misogynistic men, right? And what I was thinking? I was just thinking, like, wow, yes, I have anger because of the things that I've gone through and how people have failed me. But every single day I have woken up and chose love, chose happiness. And you know, I don't want to hurt others. And I even have a hard time, killing a bug. I really don't like to even kill a bug. If I see a little ant, I'll pick the little ant up and just take him outside. The only bugs I've ever killed is like roaches. I've killed roaches before, but that's about it. I don't I don't kill spiders, I don't kill bees, nothing like that. And even if there's a spider, I will catch it and put it outside. And I was thinking, like, the simple fact that I'm able to choose love, I'm able to choose happiness, and I'm able to choose peace, wanting to give love, wanting to give joy. That in itself is a blessing, because there are people that allow demons to win every single day. And there are people that don't know anything because they're so consumed by demons. And I feel like the best thing that you could do is just pray for those people, right? Because at that point, they're no longer that person. They're just a walking vessel to that demon, right? Because I noticed that, like, there are some men that are so misogynistic that they hate everything about you as a woman. I already thank God for so much, right? Because I am so thankful to God. God has kept me alive. Even, like 2 years ago, I almost was murdered by somebody, and that was really tough on me, you guys. And that I was so close to dying that, this person was choking me, right? And I had reached a point, when they were doing that I had just accepted death. And the simple fact that God has allowed me to live, is why I try my very best to just continue to do better. Because I know that I have let demons win before. And I'm trying my best to just change everything about myself. And even if I go away from the righteous path, I always come back, because it's like a magnet, right? Like, to me, God feels like a magnet. I can't go away for too long because I'm just pulled back. And but I have realized how the simple fact that I'm able to choose love, I'm able to choose happiness, even amidst my pain, I'm able to choose, you know what? I'm going to try to heal myself. I'm going to try to do better. I'm going to blah, 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 blah. That is a blessing in itself that I am, so grateful for, because, like I said, there are some people that let those demons win. And I feel like this misogynistic air about men is just demons living in the vessel of these men. And like a Jezebel spirit, right? Because we talk about Jezebel spirits. And I feel like misogynistic demons are no different from a Jezebel spirit. They're meant to cause confusion between man and woman. And you know it's not about just thanking God for the materialistic. It's not just about reaching a materialistic point in life. It's also about the spiritual warfare, because there is a spiritual warfare. I just feel like right now I understand that Jesus is gonna come back, right? And I think that today has just been such an eye-opening day. Being able to talk to that sister just was so amazing to me, because I just feel like God just opens up different realms in the spiritual world for you to see, and I don't know, I feel like this phase of my life is me asking God, how can I prepare for Jesus to return? How can I prepare my family for when Jesus returns, Because, like I said, there really are demons out there, and I don't want that for my family. I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for my children, because it's some people allow these demons to truly poison them and just burn everything that's in their way. And that's really sad to me. You guys have no idea how thankful I am to have met that sister, because I understand that sadness can lead into anger, and anger is a sin, right? But not only that, but it helped me realize why forgiving is so important, because that was the part that was really hard for me, forgiving. But some of these people, they're just a vessel for these demons. It's not that person. That person needs to be freed from demons, you know? And that's not to excuse anybody's actions, right? That is just a different perspective that was really hard for me to just comprehend before. And I'm just so thankful to God, because God has shown me forgiveness in a more poetic way. Not just that, but the importance of praying for your enemies and freeing them from their own demons, Before today, I would say, God, please forgive that person, because I knew it was the right thing to do. And, a Muslim sister helped me even get to that point, because before then I just felt like, I'm not going to forgive that person, but, this Muslim sister really helped me realize that God forgives us every day. So who are you to not forgive, for your, God forgives you for your own sins. So who are you to not forgive? But today I was able to also see the poetic beauty of forgiving. That's why I'm so thankful to God, because, people can have material wealth. People can even have knowledge. I love to read. I love to learn things. But the gifts that God gives us in the spiritual realm, that is worth way more than anything, And I'm just so thankful to God, because I feel like God has really opened up my eyes. And not only that, but has opened up a realm in the spiritual world for me to walk in, for me to just embrace myself with, and accept my blessings. You know what I mean? I just can't explain it, you guys. I'm just so thankful for God today. I'm just so thankful for that sister, truly, because, my cup was empty today, but she filled me up.